We're so excited for all of you to be here to celebrate cinema with us. My name is Mickey Dusdovich. I am the programming director, so you can blame me for all the films that are being shown here this weekend. I hope you will enjoy each and every one of them. We have a wonderful panel coming up for you right now. We are a festival in Texas, and we want to celebrate all the art that comes out of Texas. And so this panel was put together with a lot of thought and heart. And to get us started, before I bring out all the amazing panelists, I would like to bring out your moderator for today. She is a part of the Texas Film Commission. Without her, we would not get a number of these films that you get to see that come out of Texas, a number of these TV shows and spots that you get to see each and every day here in Texas. So without further ado, I would like to bring out Ali Nichols from the Festival Commission.
Thank you so much. Hi, y'all. Thanks so much for being here today. We're really looking forward to talking to everybody about the process of making films in this great state. As he said, I am the Deputy Director of the Texas Film Commission, so going to provide some brief introductions to our wonderful panelists here today. I'd first like to welcome my colleague, Michelle Habecker, who is the Senior Industry Relations Specialist at the Texas Film Commission. Then we have Chase Musselwhite, filmmaker and founder of Media for Texas. Peeking to see who's next. Duncan Montgomery, co-founder of High Frequency Entertainment. Nixon Guerrero, COO and head of production and development for Troublemaker Studios. And Josh Hopkins, seasoned television and film actor from shows such as Brothers and Sisters, Ally McBeal, and Apple TV series Shrinking. These are some spotlights on Texas. All right, well, thanks so much for joining us, everyone. And we're going to have a great conversation talking about a variety of things about the filmmaking process here in Texas, about the Texas community and locations and cast and crew. But I would like to start the conversation by just providing folks with a few updates from the Texas Film Commission office. For those of you who may not know, our office administers what's called the Texas Moving Image Industry Incentive Program, which is a financial incentive program for projects that film here in the state of Texas. We recently had some pretty monumental kind of historic funding for this program, and there were some changes to it. So I'm going to ask Michelle to just share some of those updates with everyone who might not be familiar with the program and might want to know a little bit about that.
Sure. Hi. Is there any filmmakers in the audience? If so, yay! Welcome. So as Ali mentioned, the state of Texas does have a incentive program. It's called the Texas Moving Imaging Incentive Program. Incentives are probably the key driver of where film, TV shows, even commercials and video games choose to make their project. And so it becomes very competitive in terms of trying to attract production to a state or a country or a city sometimes for the benefit of having that production made in that jurisdiction. So the state of Texas, we've had an incentive program for many years. We've made some changes to it. Well, we didn't make some changes to it, but the state legislature made some changes to it this last legislative session. So the overall functioning of the program and how it's run is pretty much intact. So if you're a filmmaker and you are familiar with the Team Up Incentive Program before session, it is still working a lot of the same ways, but what was changed was some of the amounts of money that you can get back as a filmmaker when you make your project here in the state of Texas and it comes to the incentive program. So I'll hit on a couple of the key things that I know are most interesting to some of our filmmakers here. One of those is that the base incentive rates for some of the projects have increased. The program functions like a cash rebate. So when a film or a TV show applies to the incentive program and the project is accepted into the incentive program, then that project gets a rebate on the amount of money they spent hiring their Texas crew, hiring their Texas cast, and spending money at Texas businesses to make that project. So if a film project, for example, spends $2 million hiring Texas crew and hiring Texas cast in the state of Texas and spending money at Texas businesses, they can now get up to 25% back as a base rate. The thresholds have lowered a little bit, which means I'm going to say relatively smaller budgets can qualify for more money, which is pretty exciting. One of the other key changes is that we have what we call additional grant awards that have been added to the program. So on top of the base rates, projects that apply to the program can meet certain benchmarks and qualify to get an additional percentage back on their grants on top of their base rate. So there's, I think, a total of 8 of them now. There used to be 1 or 2. We used to have a bump that would encourage productions to happen outside the hubs of Austin and the Dallas areas. So we call that the underutilized economically distressed bump. And if a project made 25% of their production outside of the major hubs, they would get an extra 2.5% on their base. They can still do that as of right now, but you can also elect to do some other things which are kind of exciting. There's a Veterans Award option as well. So if you hire 5% or more of your combined Texas cast and crew, that project can get an initial 2.5% bump on their base rate. There's Historical Site Additional Grant Award, which encourages filming at historical sites in the state of Texas. There's a faith-based bump, also 2.5%. These bumps are now stackable. It used to max out at, I think, 22.5% as a rebate, and now you can get up to 31%. So there's a whole bunch of other ones that you can look into. Our office is in the process of writing the rules for these changes. It is an extensive process, so the state legislature implemented a lot of changes, and then we get to kind of dig into how that actually works. The incentive program, like I mentioned, is a cash rebate, which means that projects not only have to apply and be accepted to the program, but they have to document that they did indeed hire Texas residents and spend money at Texas businesses and meet the program qualifications, which means they have to document that all with receipts at all the Texas businesses that they spent money at, and then submit them to our office for review. The Texas Film Commission, our office, administers the program, so all the documents are sent to us. Our office reviews it, as well as the Office of the Governor's State Compliance Division, to make sure that people are indeed spending the money, making their project here in the state of Texas, and then that's what they get in terms of their rebate. So we make sure that that money is spent here before any money is paid out on the program.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's a couple of base qualifiers for the program. To qualify, you have to spend a minimum for feature films and television projects $250,000 in state. 60% of your project has to be filmed in the state, and 35% of your paid cast and your paid crew have to be Texas residents. So if you are interested in this program, we highly encourage you to contact our office. We have a really great incentives team that can walk you through the process on how to apply and how to go through that program. So Nixon and Duncan, as 2 folks who work for companies based here in Texas, can you tell us a little bit about these changes to the incentive program, how it will help benefit your projects? I guess a little bit about how incentives kind of drive some of the projects that you work on, and how this might impact your future projects.
Yeah, it's essential, absolutely essential. I can tell you, if this rebate didn't have the wonderful facelift that it has now, our next movie would have been shot in New Mexico. I'm not even sure the Film Commission knows that, but it's incentives are the name of the game, the rebate game. Wherever the percentage is best, what benefits the production is where the movies are going to go. And now Texas is in the game, and in the game to win it. So you filmmakers that are out there, you can stay home. You don't have to go anywhere else to make a career. You're going to be you're stuck with Texas.
And I would say, I've been making movies for a while and have not shot a film in Texas for a decade, and this is largely why. So being able to come home and take my kid to baseball and then go to set, that's a pretty good operation. One of the things I would encourage too is, and this is just more philosophy than anything, but if you're out there raising money for your film, one of the things you can now do is guarantee those potential investors that they're going to get X percentage back, whatever that effective rate is from your budget. And so, I say this in other cities, here it will be understood. There's no such thing as a dry hole anymore in the film industry if you're shooting here in Texas, and you're going to get that tax incentive based on who you hire in the state and the companies you use.
Yeah, that's great. And our program is pretty unique in that it is a tax, it's not a tax credit, it's actually a cash grant program. So you are getting cash after your project gets audited, which is a nice thing to have in those conversations as well. So Chase, you and the Media Texas team were a big part of the legislative effort this past spring, but as we all know, it takes a whole community to really come together. What were some of your biggest takeaways that you saw from like the Texas production community and how that translates to the work that's getting done here?
Yeah, I mean, I think the community was everything. Was anyone, well, first of all, everyone's aware obviously of the bill that was passed this last session. Was anyone aware of the event that Nixon and I put together on the Capitol lawn? It was called the Texas, were you guys there? You were there? Okay, I just am curious, what was your biggest takeaway from that experience? In the front row.
It seemed effective. I mean, like Jeannie had their brain out there, and I think we made a presence for sure.
Anyone else want to throw out anything they remember from that event?
It was like all of Texas was there, and we were all there together.
So from the entire 2 years that I worked, my co-partner is here in the audience as well, to work towards this to work towards this legislative pass and this bill and this face uplift for the program, the most memorable thing for me the entire experience was the Texas Film Experience, which was Demo Day. I mean, the entire Texas film community came together. We basically lined the Capitol Walk, the walkway up to the Capitol steps, with tents, walking you through the life cycle of a film, all the way from development through distribution. With each tent, we showcased a different department, and we had live recreations of different things going on in that department. So in the casting tent, we had a fake little casting audition going on that Beth Sepko was actually running. Visual effects, we had a whole green screen. We had showcasing one of our partners who did one of the Matthew McConaughey videos. They were showcasing how they did that at their virtual production facility. We had the recreation of Friday Night Lights with the original cast and crew. And I think what that day did show to legislators and not only the community is that Texas is different. Our film community is different. Everyone who comes to Texas feels this way. They leave. I was just on set outside of Houston, and the producer who's from New York says, I've shot all around this globe, and I have never been on a set that feels like home. And I feel like that day with the community really showcased, not only to legislators, but for members who were partaking in the South by Southwest, because it was a South by Southwest collaborative event, that Texas has a lot more to offer than, we needed the incentive to, for business purposes, get people down to the state. But then once you're here, you have a whole family that welcomes you. Joining set is like joining a community, and I don't think that other states can really say the same thing. And I think that's what's different for Texas, and it was really incredible. And we did that event the same day that the bill was actually filed by the Senate. So it was sort of hand in hand, because then legislators could walk out and see thousands of people who supported the event, and it was a really great, and I don't know if you have anything to add, but Nixon brought all of the Spy Kids props, also brought all of a bunch of different people as well. Special effects makeup, we had their special effects makeup artists come.
Well, what I will add is just to build off of what Chase said. So we shot Alita Battle Angel right here in the state of Texas, the biggest movie ever shot here, the most crew ever used. But the producer on that movie is John Landau, who produced James Cameron's movies, Titanic, Avatar. So he's our producer on that film. And he said the most wonderful thing to me while we're prepping the movie, while we're designing, while we're developing, while we're shooting, he said, Nixon, I've shot all over the world. I've worked with so many different crews. I've never worked with a crew as passionate as yours and as passionate as the people are here in Texas about what they do. And I was like, it's Texas, baby. We care about what we do. You know, we're here to get the job done. And it meant the world to have a guy like that recognize that. Exactly what Chase is saying, that was at the Capitol lawn is not just at that Capitol lawn. It's on set. It's behind the scenes. It's everywhere. It's everybody that's here in this crowd coming together to learn about, it's small town vibes, but it happens to be on a film set. Everybody gets to know each other. It does become a family for sure.
And I think that's what's going to make Texas really excel to number one. The incentive was needed. Y'all run an incredible office, but this homegrown, just the ethos of who Texans are, I think is what's going to take Texas to that next level and eventually be the leader in film, media, television, entertainment in the country. So we're very excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think Texas has had such a long-standing, rich history of film production. You know, our office has been around since the 70s. The first Academy Award-winning film, Wing, shot in San Antonio. Like, there's a lot of film history here, and there's a lot of crew, and there's amazing locations. So, and there's community. So now with these new incentives too, it's just a whole package here. So. Well, Josh, taking it over to you, you've worked on some incredible projects. You mentioned Shrinking, but also True Detective and Cougar Town and the Austin film CBS series Walker. Can you tell us a little bit about your time working in Texas and also some of the pilots you worked on and kind of the local community that you worked with while you were working here in Texas?
Yeah, well, just to add, first of all, like they said, incentive is king, okay? People are gonna go and shoot where they can get the most bang for their buck. But everything being equal, people want to shoot here. They think of Texas as a movie place. When I say I live here to people like, oh, there's a ton of production there, right? I'm like, there is, but I moved to Austin 6 years ago, and I did a couple pilots and different movies in Austin, actually, and nothing since I moved here, which is not fun. And with these incentives, stuff is coming back, and with like Chase and Nixon, and people believe so much in this community, spearheading it. It's gonna come, and filmmakers from here, you're lucky right now. If you're getting into it, the pendulum is swinging back to Texas, and it's a great time to be planning and making films here. Like everything being said equal, and not to throw shade, but people would rather shoot in Texas than New Mexico. I mean, so you're glad everything's coming. Yeah. So you're in a great place if you're a filmmaker from here. As far as being an actor, it's you know, Austin itself is such a artistic place and like-minded people. Texas itself has it has a lot of capable crew, and people know that. So some places that are just learning and giving big incentives don't have a base of crew that can really know how to work, and Texas has everything. So it's thanks to you guys and the initiative, and it's really about to go. So it's a great time to be here if you're a filmmaker. As far as being an actor, I really want stuff to come back so I can just get out of bed and go to work like I did when I lived in Los Angeles. But I'm excited for Texas and the future of film.